Melissa with Community Natural Foods, and we are back with our second part of our sourdough starter that's gluten-free. So Agnes survived and is ready to go, and we are going to make a multigrain sourdough bread today with her. So we're going to start off with our water. Your water wants to be about 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees Celsius, and we are going to add about 100 grams of Agnes into the water. You want to feed her about 12 hours before making the dough so that it's active and ready to go, and you'll be able to tell by the amount of air bubbles and things that are in the starter. You'll watch her rise and she'll be good to go. Once you've used your sour starter, after you're done making your bread, you're going to want to feed it again to get it activated again. So we've got our sour starter, our water, and then we're going to add sugar. And yeast and sour starters love sugar because that's what they feed off of. So you really want to kind of have that to help activate the yeast. We'll get that stirred up and set aside. Here I have a blend of flour. In here I have millet flour, brown rice flour, oat flour, and I'm using an oat flour that's only oats and it's not processed in a wheat facility. A lot of times with people that have gluten intolerances or celiac, they can't have oats because usually they're processed in the same facility. This, however, is not. We've got a tapioca starch in there, as well as some salt and psyllium husk. So we've whisked that all together, and you want to make sure that the blend is completely whisked together. Otherwise, the psyllium husk is going to clump when you add your water. So just make sure that it's whisked nicely before you add this in. Last night, I soaked some grains here. So I've got quinoa, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, and oats. Again, the oats are celiac friendly. If you forget to do this the night before, you can also use hot water to soak them, and it'll soften them up while you're getting everything else ready to go. So with everything ready to go, we are going to add our gluten-free flour blend to the water. And mix it all together. All right, so we've got it all mixed up and the lumps are out. We're going to then take our seeds. We're going to fold them in. Once we've folded the seeds into the batter, we're going to let it sit for 10 minutes so that it can stiffen up. All right, so we've let our dough sit for 10 minutes. Now we are going to put it in the pan. There's two ways that you can do this. You can just pour it into the pan, or you can form it on a wet surface. I tried forming it this morning on a wet surface. It's quite difficult, so I highly recommend this method. You can also, if you're worried about it coming out of the pan, you can line your pan with parchment and then pour the dough into it that way. I'm not too worried about it. I'm using a nonstick pan, so we're just going to do it this way. So you're going to want to wet your hands when you're touching things, just because otherwise everything's going to stick to you. So we're just going to pour the dough out. It's bread. I like to use my hand. All right. To make it look as much like a dough or a log as possible, like a loaf. And then that is pretty much it. You're going to let this sit at room temperature, ideally overnight, but it's going to take upwards to 14 to 15 hours, depending on the temperature of your home. So let it proof, put a wet cloth or plastic over top. It's okay if the cloth touches the dough, and then just let it sit at room temperature. And when it's ready to go, then we will bake it off, and it will be beautiful when it comes out of the oven.
So the bread has come out of the oven. Let it chill for a little bit before taking it out of the pan. I baked this off for about 60 to 70 minutes, and I made sure that I took the internal temperature that you want to sit around 200 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you take it out, just take a knife and scrape it around the sides, and it should pop out nice and clean, like so. If it's nice and chilled. So thank you so much for joining us today. Smash that like button and subscribe.